This policewoman accidentally found 5 tons of drugs, but instead of turning it in, she was going to sell it herself. Looking at the flour on the shelves, a bold idea came to the woman's mind. First she bought a lot of old cell phones at a wholesale store, and a high-powered money counting machine. Then she used her position as an eavesdropper. She found a drug dealer who was extremely short of supplies, and sent him a text message in Arabic, telling him the exact time and address of the deal. Then he started browsing the internet for Arabic clothing, wrapped up the hijab and put on sunglasses. The woman's aura was suddenly full of. The 2 drug dealers who came to make the deal instantly froze. When the woman spoke, that standard Middle Eastern accent was more authentic than the real thing. The 2 men thought the woman was something special. Since this was the first transaction between the 2 parties, Auntie only brought a sample. She said she would give it to them for free for inspection. If they find it good after using it, I can provide a large number of low-priced. Before she left, she told them to use Arabic if they contacted her, so the police can't listen in on their activities. After explaining everything, she turned around and left. Her calm demeanor made the 2 of them worship her. When the fat man returned home and inspected the goods, the look on his face told him that the goods were of high quality. He immediately contacted Auntie and decided to make the deal that afternoon. Auntie immediately packed 100 caddies of goods in her pocket. Then she took a cab on the side of the road. She asked the driver to bring the car to the parking lot of the police station. This is where she made the deal. Before they could recover from the shock, Auntie started to check the money in the back seat. Seeing that she was so well prepared, the 2 of them were ready to count the amount of goods. But no matter how much they counted, there was still an extra packet. Auntie explained that it was a free gift. But while they were talking, a police car suddenly drove up from a short distance away. The 2 drug dealers were so scared that their faces turned green, but the mom calmly greeted the police. Looking at the back of the police, the 2 drug dealers were very impressed with Auntie. As the number of transactions increased, a large amount of low-priced goods swept through the Paris market, and they were soon targeted by the police. All the police knew was that the source was a Middle Eastern woman, so the commissioner immediately asked the aunt to translate the recording. But when he heard the voice on the recording, he suddenly felt an inexplicable familiarity. Auntie is a cop on the job, but off-duty she's a stealth drug dealer. The commissioner listened to the recording of the drug dealer's mom. She sounded very familiar. Auntie quickly explained. Her accent is authentic Middle Eastern. The director is very depressed when he can't find any clues. She was unexpectedly rich and had too much cash, so she went to the landlord who sold her house. She wanted to ask her how to buy a house at a high price. The landlord instantly understood what she meant. He said he could help her by buying a house, but he had to make a 30-point cut. Auntie immediately agreed to the landlord's request, but unfortunately, the police soon found the 2 drug dealers she was working with. But in order to empty the warehouse quickly, Auntie decided to continue the transaction in a different way. First he put the bags containing the goods into the supermarket locker. Then she taped the key to the back of the snacks. Then the dealer came and took the key, and put the envelope with the cash back in, at the checkout counter, while the dealers are removing the snakeskin bags from the lockers. That's how they avoided police surveillance. Moreover, Auntie used her position to confuse her colleague's investigation, to confuse the direction of her colleague's investigation, so that she can get away from all the suspicions. However, the police are not the only ones looking for her. There's also the gangsters who lost the shipment. Auntie realized that the police were listening in on their communication, so she asked the drug dealer to contact him on the gang. But an accident happened just as they were making their next deal. Auntie had just walked into the store where the deal was to be made when she spotted the commissioner's figure. She immediately turned around and walked upstairs. Then she exited through the back door of the store. Once she was out of danger, Auntie immediately contacted Fatty. She told him to keep an eye on the neighborhood, and told him the new place to make the deal. The 2 of them completed the deal in front of the mall. At that moment, the police just turned on the surveillance camera across the mall. Auntie's silhouette had already disappeared from the CCTV. As she was crossing the street with the cash, an accident happened. 2 drug dealers made a deal in front of a shopping mall, and right under the police's surveillance camera. But before the police could see the drug dealer's face, the deal was done. But as the mom was crossing the street with the cash, she was accidentally hit by an oncoming person. Bundles of money fell to the ground. The police were on their way. Auntie just picked up a few bundles and quickly left. But as soon as she was out of the police's sight, Auntie was targeted by the gangsters. When they were about to catch up with her, Auntie stopped the police on patrol. She said that Baldhead had been following her. Seeing that the situation was not good, Baldhead immediately turned around and left. But the gangsters didn't give up. They came to Auntie's apartment with flower pots in their hands. They took out pistols from the flower pots. The landlord was organizing his daughter's wedding. Baldhead threatened the landlord with the gun. The other used a crowbar to pry open Auntie's door. While the 2 sides were confronting each other, naughty kids set off firecrackers in the hallway. The landlord's bodyguard immediately shot the gangsters, but the landlord was very calm. After disposing of their bodies, Auntie wanted to call the police, but the landlord said, "The police here are all useless. She'll take care of it herself." Then they went on with the wedding. While they were taking group photos outdoors, Auntie received news that her mother had passed away in the hospital. Her mother's death left her disillusioned. She was no longer motivated to sell flour. She took her 2 daughters and scattered her ashes in front of her mother's favorite counter. Then she found the landlord. She showed the landlord the contents of the warehouse, but the landlord was not surprised, because she knew what Auntie was doing, and Auntie had already decided not to do this anymore. She got rid of all the midwinter clothes, and put the rest of the stock back into the warehouse. After all this, Auntie quit her job at the police station, and the chief, who had a crush on her, looked at her with a deep sense of humor. Maybe she recognized the drug dealer, but she didn't choose to arrest her, and after letting go of everything, she went back to her hometown, and lived the life she dreamed of. This is the end of the movie.